Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the Queen's Court. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen. And as always, we have a lot to talk about. The Knicks start the first game of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Indiana Pacers tonight, 7:30 p.m. Everybody's nervous. Ajay will be in the house a little later. He's nervous about the Knicks. He don't want to play this young team. Listen, the Knicks winning in 4 or 5. That's how I see it. You know what Indiana likes to do. They want to score in transition. They were number one, I believe, in the regular season in points in the paint. And I believe that's not because they're punishing us in the paint. I believe those are, you know, layups. So you know what they want to do. If you can't stop it, then absolutely you lose the series. That's just how it goes. There's no secret. You know what they're trying to do. Your game plan should be adequate to stop them. If you don't stop it, that means they're better. And the same thing with us. They know what we're trying to do. They know we're trying to get second chance points. They know what Brunson is trying to do. There's no secrets in the playoffs. They know what you're trying to do, and they have a game plan to stop it. The key is, are they good enough to stop it? And I just don't think that they are. And I think the Knicks are good enough to stop them in transition. So we shall see. Let me bring in Lady and the Chef, DJ Shuttle. How you doing? Don't tell me you guys are nervous.
No, I'm not nervous. I just think it's like what we talked about for me right before the show started. The Knicks just have to limit the Pacers' fast intensity pace that they play at. If they stop them from running, I think the Knicks will definitely have control over the series and this in the games.
Yeah, agree.
Well, all aboard here. I don't think we should be nervous, but we should be respectful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Listen, when you got young athletic players that move at the pace that these guys do, you have to just be on your A game and don't let them establish any level of confidence that they don't deserve to have at this
Absolutely.
point.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, definitely. And to me, 4 or 5 is not being feel I'm being disrespectful. I just think the Knicks are are a better team, and I think we'll be able to execute the game plan. That's what it's about for me. But anyway, let me. The game is tonight, Eastern Conference Semifinals, Game One, MSG and TNT. For myself, I live in New York City, so I'll be watching on TNT. Excuse me, MSG. I do tape the TNT podcast and broadcast, and the next day, I usually rewatch the second half or the fourth quarter, depending. I'll watch that on TNT. These are
Oh,
oh,
now speaking of TNT, very very quickly, Steph.
mhm.
Will they have Reggie Miller announcing the game tonight? Do we know that?
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
so. I thought I heard that he is. So I'll have to
How
look it up.
crazy? How crazy is that? But anyway,
Yeah, yeah, something's going on with my slides. Anyway, no change in the starting lineup as far as I know for the Knicks and for Indiana. For those who aren't familiar, Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nemhard, Aaron Neesmith, Pascal Siakam, and Miles Turner. And we'll get into matchups, but I just want to give you a sense of what the who the starters are and the potential matchups may be. And these are the storylines, and this is where we're going to start. Brunson and Halliburton is one of the storylines in this series. The difference in playing styles, right? The Knicks half court, slow pace, methodical. Though the Knicks have been doing pretty good in transition, actually, at least in that first round series. Obi's playoff return, which is not a big storyline for me. Ananobi and Siakam, right? Both of them played in Toronto, and I would think that OG will be matched up on Siakam, if not initially, at some point in this game and in this series. And then another one that's really not here is just uh, the rivalry, old time rivalry. I think I have it here between. They played 6 times between 1993 and 2000, and the series is three apiece during that time, and they actually beat the Pacers to become the first number 8 seed to make it to the NBA Finals. That's when Larry Johnson with the 4 point play. But which of these storylines stand out to you the most? Lady in the Shaft, then we go to DJ Shuttle.
For me, we already know what Brunson and Halliburton are gonna do. For me, it's more so. I think the storyline for me that sticks out is OG Ananobi.
Mm.
I think OG one is going to have to be just as aggressive as he was in the Philly series, if not more aggressive. We're going to need him and his defensive presence, as well as needing him on the offensive end as well. The Knicks are going to need some other scoring besides Jalen Brunson.
Correct.
And then I think, I was saying this on the Two Knicks Chicks podcast the other day as far as Siakam. When he was on Toronto, the Knicks had a hard time guarding him. I think in one of the games he came to the Garden and scored like 50 points because for some reason he's one of those players that the Knicks seem to allow him to do whatever he wants to do. And it's mind-boggling to me because I'm like, this guy is not big like an MB, like a Mitchell Robinson. Like, I'm not understanding why we can't just guard him. So I think OG Anunoby's gonna, which I'm confident that he can be able to stay with Siakam and stay on him and deny him the ball. But I think in general, Brunson and Halliburton are going to do what they're going to do. But I think the biggest thing for me is that the Knicks defense is going to have to be A1 throughout this series. Because even with the challenge that we had in the first round against Philadelphia, we still allowed certain guys like Cameron Payne to come in and shoot threes willy-nilly. Josh Hart was a little too late getting out on the perimeter, preventing him from, getting the three. And then he was also doing where he was trying to go in the closeout to grab the rebound, which we appreciate. We know that Josh Hart can get us rebounds, but he needed to put a body on him, and not because Cameron Payne was getting those defensive boards, but I just think that the other supporting cast role guys on this Knicks team are going to have to really play solid defense on Indiana. When I checked the numbers from the previous two games we played them in February, Indiana has six players in double figures in both games, whereas the Knicks had maybe four. I don't even think we have five. Maybe one of the games we have five. So, it's one of those things where I feel like, unlike the Philly series where you only had Embiid and Maxey doing the bulk of the scoring, Indiana's going to have several guys who can give you those 10, 12 points, which is something that I'm looking for from players like Josh Hart and Devo to give you at least minimum 10, 12 points if they can to help contribute towards the scoring. So with the locked in defense, I'm not too worried about OG. I know he can hold his own defensively no matter who he's guarding, but I'm also looking for other guys to be able to step up and help out offensively with the scoring.
Yeah, great points. Great points. DJ Shuttle.
Yeah, that Siakam, like I've played against guys like this. Like they're just kind of like herky jerky. You know what I mean? Like it's unpredictable, it's unconventional, it's like he just does these quirky moves and shots that you can't really study the film and catch all the stuff that he does because some of that stuff he does and he never does it again. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I just think OG is probably better equipped for that because he's seen it. They've been on a team together for 6 years, 7 years before the trade this season. So I'm confident he's had enough battles to be a little bit more familiar with some of the unconventional and just some of the preferences and some of the likes where Siakam likes to catch the ball or some of his tendencies, that kind of thing. So um that definitely stands out to me because while I do think they have some parity with respect to their scoring, I definitely think that he's been the catalyst for their team for the second half of this season.
Yeah.
And while again, I think they have other players that can get buckets, I think a lot of it is predicated off of Siakam. So to me, the key will absolutely be Anunoby doing his numbers. And you didn't include it, but we can't talk about OG being familiar without talking about Precious being familiar. And while I appreciate Mitch and everything he did against Embiid, I think this is a matchup similar to Dwight Howard when they played against the Denver Nuggets, and he was instrumental in stopping Joker. But when they went to the finals, they didn't really need Howard as much. So I think, if I'm coaching this team, I'm saying, listen, Mitch, you were great last series. If we go to Boston, we're probably going to need you. But right now, we don't need you as much. And I think Precious is a better fit off the bench against Siakam. Siakam is, if I'm not mistaken, their primary backup center.
Mhm.
So, I don't really want Mitch against Siakam. You know what I mean? So to me, Siakam is the key, shutting him down, whether it's Anunoby, hopefully some Precious.
Mhm.
And yeah, that kind of sticks out to me and what I'm focused on the most.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely get to that when we get to keys in the game, keys to the series, and then also when we talk about key matchups. Because I agree with you, I think Precious is going to be huge in this series, and and you hit it right on the head. And Thibodeau has shown a willingness to do that. What is this game calling for? What is this series calling for? And do we have the players that can do it? And in this case, we can. And that's another reason why I'm feeling really comfortable, because I don't think Siakam is going to run amok. Now, I don't think we shutting him down. He's a really good player. That's why he scores on the Knicks, because he's good. You know, I don't think we're shutting him down, but I think we can make it tough for him. And the same thing for Miles Turner. Um, Ajay, did you take your Clonopin? You a little calm now? You ready?
Ah, Queen, salute to you, man. Shuttle lady in the chef, how you doing? And NBK chat, what's up? Well, you call it nervous. I don't know if it's nervousness. It's just I don't like them little young teams that all they have no pressure. They just happy to be there. You know what I'm saying? So they just play freely. I just have a little problem with those kind of teams. But I know we're a better team, and we have more experience. It's just that I'm just uncomfortable, like because they don't care. You have other team like Milwaukee have a pressure. That pressure adds something to the game. It adds some sort of discipline to the game. These guys play with like there's no discipline. They do whatever they want, like whatever. I just don't like those unstructured teams. Like I would say.
Yeah. What out of the storyline? We'll get into keys of the game. We're going to get into X factors. We're going to get into matchup. But these four storylines coming into the series, which one of them stands out the most for you?
Sorry, I heard your storylines. Coming in, driving in. I heard you, but I tell you, none of that really matter. I mean, I don't think the one thing that does bother me is the fact that Reggie Miller they actually assign him to those games. I mean, how much do those networks really hate the Knicks to do that? Like, they have a pool of people that are much better than Reggie Miller, and
That's good. That's good drama though. That's good TV.
yeah, but I
That's
don't.
good. That's
But that's
entertaining.
what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. You know,
Miller on the sideline with the mic or broadcasting the game. John Starks in the squad, and Larry Johnson and Spreewell. Them
Yeah.
guys front row. Like, yo, like this, that makes it more exciting, and it actually makes the Knicks a more attractive watch by making it more entertaining.
excuse me, Shuttle. We already in attractive watch. Thank you very much. We
Well,
I don't even have to look at the ratings. I know that really.
I don't know.
Outside of Nick fans, I guess he's saying.
Yeah, outside of Knicks fans.
All right, but listen, let's see, man. Let's see. We're gonna see what happens. We- we'll see
Yeah,
what happens.
I think for me, one of the storylines that sticks out is the difference in playing styles. And I think that's going to be the difference in the game. Which team is going to be able to impose their will, their playing style on the other team? And for the Knicks, that's controlling the pace and making sure we don't play Indiana style, even though the Knicks are doing pretty good in fast break points. Sorry, I wasn't able to get a chart up, but in the playoffs, the Knicks are actually second in fast break points, and Indiana is 10th in fast break points. I mean, with a grain of salt, right? It's a small sample size. The Knicks have only played Philly up to this point. Indiana has only played Milwaukee um, up to this point. But the difference in playing styles is stark. And the Knicks can't get into a running game. It's funny. You want to get some fast break points, get as many points as you can without the defense set. But at the same time, you don't want to get into a running gun style. You really want to slow it down, half court game against this team and force them to beat you in a half court game as opposed to in transition. I think that's going to be interesting. The Knicks are down to 7 players. We can't even get into a running game. Well, I guess if Precious is going to play, then maybe you could say 8. But Precious may play, and Mitch might not get that much time. So the Knicks, it's not like the Knicks have this long rotation to be getting into this running gun game with the Pacers. All right. Anything else before we move on to matchups to watch?
Yeah, before the matchups, man, the
Mhm.
Pacers have a few annoying players that really give us problems. Like not just one, I think Lady and the Chef mentioned Pascal Siakam, but TJ McConnell.
Yeah.
Listen, if that coach is smart, man, he's gonna play McConnell like a good 30 minutes because he just gets under the Knicks' skins. Like any team he's on, not just with the Pacers, anywhere he goes, he's a problem for us. And then we have guys that we forget about, guys at the end of the bench that be killing us too, that be have not killing us, but having good games against us. You know, what's the guy with the goggles? The guy Jalen Smith,
Oh,
for
Jalen
instance.
Smith. I forgot all about him.
Yeah, he's one guy that we haven't been able to check when we play the Pacers. It's not that they're good, they're a better team, but they have guys, you know, all over the place that are that give us problems.
Yeah, I am. I agree. Pop another Clonopin, AJ. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. Uh, let's talk about this matchup. I'm guessing it's going to be Neesmith on Brunson. If you guys have any other thoughts about the matchup, all right. Sorry about that. If you guys have any other thoughts, to me, I'll just get what I have to say out of the way really quick. Brunson has seen it all in the regular season. Um, he's seen, physical defenders. He's seen long defenders. Um, he's seen them crowd the paint and make him a passer. He's seen it all, so um, maybe before while he's getting adjusted, he'll struggle in the first game. I mean, that's possible, but I expect Brunson to be himself and do what he's been doing up to this point. Now, Neesmith is a really good defender, and he is a physical defender. So I'm not saying it's going to be a cakewalk for Brunson, but I trust that he's smart enough to figure it out. Any thoughts on this particular matchup? Where feel somebody else is going to play? I'm sure McConnell will get some minutes on him, um, as well. And then also just the scheme, because it's not just one player; it's also the scheme. We'll start with Shuttle, Ajay, and then Lady in the Chef.
Yeah, I think that listen, if Oubre and them guys, only could hold Brunson to 35 points a game for a team that is not known for defense, while this guy does put a decent effort out there, I'm not really I'm not really too worried. I don't think Brunson defends against him, but I think he defends against Brunson likely to start. Yeah, he's quick. He's strong enough to do his thing, but I don't think smart enough. I don't think savvy enough. I just don't think experienced enough to really um, do anything on defense that's gonna to lead me to be concerned. And the fact that collectively, they give up what 115 points a game or whatever it is. They're not, as a collective, they're not a defensive stopping team. So I expect Philly to actually pose more of a defensive threat to Brunson than what I expect Indiana to. Doesn't mean Brunson's going to score 45 points a game, but I think he's going to more or less be able to do what he wants.
Yeah, I will say this: their defense has been better. Again, they played Milwaukee, And Milwaukee played that entire series without Giannis, and they played a few games without Dame. But right now in the playoffs, the Knicks are defensive rating is 13th. The Knicks are 13th in defensive rating, and Indy is 12th. In the regular season, the Knicks were 9th and they were 24th. So it's better, but again, small sample size. Just the 6 games against Milwaukee.
Against Milwaukee, a shorthanded Milwaukee team
Correct.
without their two best
Correct.
all NBA players.
Correct.
So I can't really put a whole lot of stock to that. And not to mention, this juggernaut of an offensive team were held to 94 points in the first game by Milwaukee. And Milwaukee wasn't much of a defensive stopping team either. So, like I said, I'm not impressed. And if it takes more than 5 games to beat Indiana, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Ajay, any thoughts on this matchup, or just how you think they're going to defend Brunson overall, and how you think he's going to do?
I'm loving the confidence because I need somebody to
You need
convince me.
That's how I felt against
I
Philly.
need to hear this.
That's how I felt against Philly. I was nervous.
Nah,
Philly's a better team.
Guys, listen, Philly, listen, they have, they're gonna be, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna be throwing they're gonna be changing it up. There's gonna be a carousel of defenders coming at Brunson.
Mhm.
They got Neesmith, they got Nimhart, they got TJ McConnell.
Mhm.
Who knows? Sometimes it might be Pascal Siakam. They have guys, and he's a good defender. He defends down Siakam. We've seen him do that. So they have guys when they switch. I mean, they're not gonna stop him, but they're gonna make him work really hard for everything he gets.
It's not new though. That's not new.
Yeah, but they have. I mean, I don't know. I think they have guys that can defend. I don't know why they're such a terrible defensive team because they have good defenders in the backcourt. Not counting Halliburton.
Yeah, because it's a team. You can have individual defenders, but you got to be on a string. I think that's the issue.
And that's the matchup that it doesn't worry me because I know Brunson will come out of that victorious, but it's just they're gonna make him work really, really hard. And because our lineup is like we're playing 7 guys, we're playing 7 guys. It's listen, man, our guys better be conditioned because this gonna be I don't think it's gonna only take 5 games. Because I think there is some games that we're just gonna be physically not able to play the kind of game we want to play. Because we only have 7 guys, and it's gonna require a lot of effort, especially for Brunson and Tibbs. Somebody else is gonna have to take up a good portion, 35 to 40% of the bringing up the ball kind of duty, to give Brunson a break from. And even then, even when somebody brings it up, they still run the offense through him. So it's going to be.
There's no break for Brunson. That's just the bottom line. Without Randall here, there's no break for Brunson. He's either setting himself up, or he's the primary person setting the rest of the team up. We don't have it. Like when Randall was here, at least we can get some open looks off the gravity, off the double team. We don't have that.
Right.
And we don't really have guys that you could throw the ball to them and say, listen, create for yourself and create for others. That doesn't mean we don't have guys like OG who can go into the mid-range and hit a shot. That's not what I'm saying. But where this person can initiate the offense and create for themselves and create for others. That's on Brunson. That's just where we are right now.
Listen.
Yeah, and I'm with X Productions. And then we'll get to Lady and the Chef. I think people are thinking about the Pacers offense instead of the Knicks defense. The Knicks defense is tough. Yeah, it's not going to be all this running and gunning. And if it is, the Knicks are going home. You know what they like to do. If you can't stop it, the Knicks are going home. Lady and the Chef?
Yeah, I'm just more so thinking if Indiana's going to defend Brunson like Philly did, where they had both Oubre. Oubre was literally holding Brunson's arm the entire time. Brunson had to continue to keep swiping his arm away. So I don't know if they're going to be where they don't even want Brunson bringing the ball up the floor, because I thought Philly did a good job with that with Brunson, where it forced other guys to have to bring the ball up past half court. So having someone put in that full court pressure defense on Brunson,
Mm-hmm.
and then just have someone else bring it up, allow Brunson to get the screen. But either way, I agree with you, Queen. Brunson, he's a superstar. He knows how to figure out how to score regardless of who's guarding him. So I'm not worried about whoever's the matchup on him throughout this series, to be honest.
Yeah. And we'll talk about keys to the game because I think you mentioned it early. Those non-Brunson, the non-Brunson scoring that we got in that first game against Philly must continue.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Halliburton. I think it's going to be DiVincenzo because I think OG is going to be on Siakam, and we'll talk about that. Um, Listen, he's in transition. He's not somebody that you're going to be running off of screens that you got to chase down, like Maxi. You can't sleep, though. You can't sleep. He has range on that three-pointer. He can get into the lane and create for others. You can't sleep. I just don't think that's his game where, like, on every possession, he's looking to score and putting that much pressure on you. But again, you can't sleep. Um, and I think he's probably maybe an inch or two taller than maybe an inch. I think he's 6'5". Devo is 6'4". I think Devo, in my mind anyway, um, helped himself in that last game against Maxi. And made me think like, okay, all right, now you're coming along now. But yeah, just your thoughts. We'll start with you, Ajay, Lady and the Chef, and then DJ Shuttle. You have thoughts on this matchup, or do you think there'll be somebody else playing Halliburton?
Absolutely. I think Josh Hart will be playing him as well.
Okay.
I think Josh Hart will be playing him probably as much as DiVincenzo. And if I'm Tom Thibodeau, because Josh Hart is a little more physical in your face defender, that will probably throw him off his game a little bit more.
But now you're putting Devo on who? Nimhart, maybe?
Nimhart, one of those guys.
Nemhart
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and Brunson on
On Neesmith.
no Devo on Neesmith and Brunson on the smaller Nemhart.
Nimhart. Okay. Yeah, that'll work.
Okay, so and listen, those guys are almost about the same size. I'm talking about DiVincenzo and Josh Hart. Josh Hart is a little bit more physical and more energy, so that would throw him off a little bit more. So that's what I would do.
And Halliburton is not super quick; it's super fast. So I think Hart should do okay in that matchup. DJ Shuttle, or was it Lady and the Chef? Whoever I said.
No, I was actually going to agree with both Ajay and DJ Shuttle. I think the matchup could go either or.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, to me, I actually like both Devo or Josh Hart on Halliburton, just because I feel like both of them could be able to be a distraction and be very pesky defensively wise against him. I think the key is that you got to make sure that he's not able to make all the passes that he wants to make. He averages, I think, throughout the Milwaukee series, I think he was averaging at least 12 assists a game. So you have to be able to, I don't know if you can distract him, blind him from trying to make the passes that he wants to make, getting the assists that he's able to get. But again, I think that the other guys got to make sure that you making it harder for the guys on Indiana to get the ball as well. But I like the matchup with either Devo or Josh Hart. I think they both can be able to keep up with him and make it hard for him to get off the shots that he wants to get, past the ball like he likes to pass. So yeah, I like either or.
And it's good that we have options. That's another thing when I was looking at these matchups, that we have more than, we could, with Miles Turner, there's two people we could put on. We could put OG on and we could put Precious. The same thing with Siakam. You guys just pointed out with Halliburton. It's good that we have defensive options. DJ Shuttle?
Yeah, I didn't see who the person was that made the comment, but I was thinking along those lines. I imagine Hart will start out against Halliburton. I just think he's more equipped to give Halliburton a tougher go at it. But there is some fact though that you need Hart on the boards, and by defending Halliburton, it kind of keeps him away from the rim. So I could see the argument to put Devo on him, but I think when it's all said and done, there's going to be some switcheroo,
Yes.
and Harder have some time, Devo will have some time, Brunson may even get a few minutes,
Mm.
and I wouldn't be surprised to see a Burks sighting either, because truth be told, while his offense hasn't been amazing, his defense is decent, and if there is going to be some fast paced action going on, you're going to have to dig into the bench, even if he only plays 3 or 4 minutes and a half, you know what I mean? You still, those couple of minutes could make a huge difference.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and he's a big body too. Alec Burks he's a big guard.
He's a big guard. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing Burke. I doubt it, but I wouldn't mind seeing Burks in this series. We might also be able to steal minutes if it's not a close game. I mean, the Philly game, I don't know what the final tally was, but it was probably a difference in like what, 2 points?
It was +1 for the entire
+1
series.
for the entire series. Every game except for, I believe, game 3 came down to crunch time, came down to under 1 minute. There was a time, I forgot what game it was, the same game that Hartenstein picked up 5, Josh Hart picked up 4. Tibbs didn't even look like he was taking it. It was like the game is right now in the third quarter.
Figure it out.
If I take somebody out right now and we go down 6, we might not ever recover. Like, that's how the game was against Philly. I'm not sure it's going to be that type of game. So we might be able to, if we're up 8, 6, 10, we might be able to steal some minutes.
Philly won that game by 11 points. Every other game was less than 5 points. Tough matchup.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Anything else about this matchup before we move on to the next one? All right, look, I had to bring everybody up now for Miles Turner, because I do think Hartenstein is going to start on him. I don't think Hartenstein or Mitch is a good matchup for Miles Turner. This is the thing, and this is what makes it difficult. And we experienced some of this in the Philly series as well. Hartenstein helps our offense. He takes a lot of pressure off of Brunson as well in terms of trying to create everything. And when you have Mitch in there and when you have Precious in there, that's even more pressure on Brunson to make it happen. And now you don't have any offensive. You have less offensive options with Precious and Mitch. Precious and Mitch in the game, other than offensive rebounds. That being said, I think Precious is the difference here. I've seen Miles Turner give Mitch trouble. I've seen Miles Turner give Hartenstein trouble. I think this is going to be Precious series when it comes to both Siakam and Miles Turner. But I just don't want Tibbs to panic. Like, let Miles Turner show you something. And then if you got to bring Precious in, then you got to bring Precious in. But don't go in just changing up everything because you think this is what he's gonna do. So this is going to be interesting to see. Lady and the Chef, we'll start with you. Just your take on guarding Miles Turner.
Yeah, for me, my particular matchups, I would rather go with Mitch and then Precious as the backup. I think for me, I feel like that because Hartenstein was not, and I get that Turner and Embiid are 2 different players, but in the first series, Hartenstein wasn't really a match for Embiid. He was getting bullied. He just couldn't figure out how to stop him. And whenever you saw Mitchell Robinson guarding him, it was like a huge difference. And then with the little bit of minutes that Precious got, he played Embiid very well. Now, I'm not going to take away from what Hartenstein has done throughout the regular season. He's proven that he can hold his own defensively. So maybe he will be a stronger threat and be able to maintain Turner throughout this series, which is what I'm looking for from him.
Yes, because he's much different than Embiid. He's a different type of.
Right. But I'm looking for him and Mitch to not, get in foul trouble so quickly, because we need them to be in the game throughout the game and not have to force Tibbs to maybe put in Precious. again, I don't mind seeing him in because Precious is more mobile on his feet, so he can keep up with those bigs who can move quicker, down low. But I think that right now, I don't know. I'm looking more for like Mitch, and then I would say Precious as the backup if he's able to get some points off the bench. But if not, I think it's imperative that both Hartenstein and Mitch do the best that they can defensively without getting in foul trouble so early.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And don't jump out on the three. I mean, he can put the ball. He can't put the ball on the floor. I don't really see that as a big part of his game, but he can definitely do it. So as long as they keep him in front, the thing with them is they have to contest the three,
Yeah.
and not give him a lot of space. And they're just not used to operating. They're not good at operating out there. DJ Shuttle.
Especially Mitch. Like I know Mitch does block jumpers from time to time, but generally speaking, especially if you have to, if he has his center matchup going against, you have that center matchup going against, going in the pick and roll with Mitch, and you have the centers that pick and actually pop for the three. He's so worried of lagging back into the paint
Yes, I
to
remember that.
protect the rim. He's not effective at getting out to the shot. Hence the Tyrese Maxey 3-point play that tied the game at what was that, game 5. So that's the part about Mitch that to me, like, I don't, like, if you talk about not feeling comfortable, AJ, that's something I don't feel comfortable about. Mitch defending pick and rolls, and getting out on the 3-point shooter when it's his man. So that's why I don't really want to see much Mitch minutes in his game. I think Precious is more effective in that regard. Actually better than iHeart as well. So I understand, Chef, why you're saying to not even put him in there. So, it's tough. And to the guy that just made the comment about putting OG on Turner, like, yeah, that I mean, this would be the ideal time to have Randall as the starting center and putting Randall on Turner if Randall were healthy. Like this, it would be like, oh man, like we would really have this team in a headlock.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Turner's definitely something to watch out for this matchup.
Yeah. Your thoughts, Ajay, on this matchup?
So I don't think Isaiah Hartenstein would do such a terrible job on Miles Turner. You can't look at Embiid and say he. I mean, it's just not the same thing. Miles Turner is no Joel Embiid. I'm sorry. And I think Isaiah Hartenstein. It's just, listen, these guys, and I'm sure the coaching staff was going to have these guys ready, looking at the games, looking at the tapes, and looking at all that stuff to know, when to do the drop coverage and when to stick man to man, when to do what you got to do. I think listen, definitely Precious will get some more minutes in the series, but I don't think it's gonna be like completely, push Isaiah Arnstein to the side or Mitch to the side. If they let Mitch sit, is just to let him heal up a little bit. Because I think all three guys could do a pretty decent job with Miles Turner. I mean,
Yeah, and Miles Turner has to guard as well.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. So that's why if you sit Mitch, it'll be something because he has to play defense on the other end. With those guys, and and I got my money on Precious if Miles Turner is guarding him. He is faster than Miles Turner.
right.
You
And
know,
also with Miles, he has to work to keep Hartenstein, whoever's in the game, whether it's Hartenstein, whether it's Mitch, whether it's Precious, to keep them off the boards. He's going to have to be down there battling to make sure he gets the defensive rebounds because we coming for it. That's just what we do. We're a very good offensive rebounding team, very good team with
Queen,
second chance points.
or
Mhm.
even Josh Hart, like
Or even, or
or
even
even Josh Hart at 6'4", he has to battle to keep him off the boards.
yeah, and they're not bad. And second chance points in the playoffs, they're 6, and in the regular season they were 7. So they also they're also up there in terms of getting second chance opportunities, but we're just really good defensive rebounders. I think we'll be fine in that regard. Um, Who somebody didn't go as far as this matchup is concerned?
We all went.
Everybody went. All right. Moving right along. I think I got one more matchup. Yeah,
Mm.
Siakam and and OG both played together in Toronto. They probably was on the same team in when they were scrimmaging. Probably wasn't on opposing teams, but still he knows his tendency. He knows what he likes to do. This is actually this is a matchup I'm looking forward to, actually. Thoughts on this matchup? Anybody who wants to go?
Can't
I, I
wait.
Uh,
Can't
yeah, I
wait.
think this is a good matchup, and I think like Shuttle was saying earlier when he also mentioned Precious playing in. If he does get time, if he can get on the floor at the same time as OG, they do play well together while they're both on the floor. Of course, when Precious was missing those easy layups and dunks, I thought about you, Steph, because I thought about how you said it's just like a candle when you could just blow the light out and it just go. I'm praying that Precious just goes in with authority, like Jeff was
Yes.
mentioning, just dunk the ball if you're close to the basket. But I think defensively, him and OG play really well. I know Diva Locks has meant they play really well together when they're on the floor. And like you said, from them playing on the same previous team together. So I really do think that this is going to be a great matchup.
Yeah, J Tap said he wouldn't even waste OG's time on Siakam.
no,
Hart
wow,
would do fine against him. I
wow.
mean, Hart does give up interest to him. Listen, he's been playing really, really well. In at least in the first round, again against an injured, Milwaukee team, notwithstanding, he's been playing really, really well for them. I would put OG on him, but I hear what you're saying about Hart. I'm not mad at that. Anybody else?
That's gonna be a good matchup.
Yeah,
But I think OG Ananobi has the upper hand on both offense and defense because he's he's more solid, he's more physical, and has more strength than Siakam. And like you said, they used to each other, so he knows his tendency. He knows which way Siakam's gonna go. So yeah, I would put yeah I don't know who said they wouldn't even waste OG on Siakam, but yeah,
that was J Tap. Shout out
that's
to J.
JTab. Shout out JTab. That's the perfect guy for us to match up against Siakam. I think that would neutralize him.
Yeah.
So,
Um. Somebody said Paris Duggar. Shout out to Paris Duggar. He wants OG on Halliburton. He didn't do great on Maxi, but again, Maxi is a different type of beast offensively. Um, he might see some time on Halliburton. I Halliburton is good in the half court. He's great in transition. So if the Knicks are in half court, I don't know if you need to put OG on Halliburton, but yeah, he might see some time. Anything else on that?
Can't wait.
All right. Listen, we down to 7 players. Everybody is a potential X factor. I got the whole team. I got the whole team here. I'm probably missing one. Probably missing one player here. Brunson. We already know what Brunson is
and
going to do.
and DiVincenzo.
Oh, I'm missing DiVincenzo. Yeah, yeah. Whose shooting would be a welcome sight if he's able to have a more consistent series than he did against Philadelphia. Do you think Indiana's defense right now, they're in the playoffs, they're ranked 12th in defensive rating out of 16 teams. The Knicks are 13 out of 16 teams. Again, they played Milwaukee. We haven't talked about, can they guard us? Who's the defenders on their team?
Well, you did talk.
Neesmith is one.
Yeah, you did talk about him earlier. That
Mhm.
maybe he can give Brunson some trouble, and I mean I think he can put a decent effort, but I just think collectively as a defensive, as a defensive collective, they just don't have what it takes to really stop anybody.
Who's Halliburton guarding?
Doesn't matter. You can't stop him. That Swiss cheese Matador D, if you ever seen it.
You
He's
know,
good. He's good. He's good for the passing lanes.
right?
He's good for passing lane steals. But like, you're not gonna say, "All right, Halliburton, we need you to stop Devo. Don't let him score." Like, that's not gonna happen. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's not gonna happen. So he's probably gonna. I would imagine he's gonna end up defending against Hart, and you know, Hart kind of is not the guy to get into any plays call for him. And when he gets open. Halliburton on Devo, you know, yeah. I mean, listen, I'm comfortable with that for Devo, but the X factor for Indiana we've talked about is T.J.
Mm.
McConnell, and Deuce coming in and being able to keep him at bay. TJ's is a guy like, we can't let him do Cameron Payne on us. You know what I mean? So, Deuce needs to have a mission like this TJ McConnell guy. Like, listen, like he doesn't score. I mean, and if he scores, let it be few and far in between. He can't go on a 6-0 run by himself. You know what I mean? And yeah, we need Deuce to really, make this guy earn it and and hold him down. That's what I see as the X factor, because McConnell is the type of guy that, that's what the players become, like, the others that step up and do something. And I feel like TJ is a guy that could come in and we're gonna need Deuce to really do his 1-2.
Yeah. So basically, an X factor for you is just making sure TJ McConnell doesn't pop off on us.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Okay. All right.
I think our X factor, and kind of along the same line as DJ Shuttle, and I agree with him. It's not just making sure that TJ McConnell just have a great series, but the X factor is Deuce. Because I think our series will go how Deuce McBride goes. He's going to be the X factor. He's going to be the difference maker. He's going to be the guy. And I know he gives up a lot of inches to Halliburton. We didn't talk about. I think he's going to be checking him sometimes too. You got to remember, Deuce got long arms.
He does.
And just like OG, when you playing guys with long arms, sometimes you can't judge their reach. And that's why these guys, they could stick their hand in there when unexpectedly and poke the ball away and go for steals, because you can't really, you just, if the guy's right there, you figure he can't reach but so far, but then he goes like another 2 inches and then poke the ball away. So I think Deuce McBride, he's going to be instrumental to this series. I hope Tibbs play him, because if we play him, I think we're going to be fine. If he has a good series, I think we're going to be good.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna play. He's entrenched in that rotation, but especially now that Bogey his Bogey is out. I wonder if the Knicks. I'm interested to see the intensity defensively of Indiana, because Philly's defense was was intense, and the Knicks had to earn every basket they got. Embiid, when he set a screen, there was hardly any space to fight over the screen. You know what I mean? So if Indy ain't playing that type of defense, the Knicks might feel like, hey, wow, you got a little space out here. When the screen is set, there's a little space for me to get through the screen. And, when I'm cutting through the lane, I'm not getting knocked down, We'll see. So that's something I'm looking forward to, looking to see how intense is Indiana's defense going to be, because guys who probably didn't get off, against Philly, like Devo, he might be, it might be better for him this series. They may have a hard time taking him out of this series the way Philly took him out. Any other comments on potential X factors? We talked about Precious, and I agree with you, Ajay. Don't change things up from the rip. Go with your regular rotations.
Mhm.
Mitch, Hartenstein, that's what it is. Then if you find that they're struggling, you got your ace in the hole. Then you bring Precious in. Any
Yeah,
other X factors?
sounds like you're giving Coach Tibbs an X to be an X factor right there.
You got to be on your game.
How
He
you manage like when I coached PAL, I always coached working towards the playoffs. So I use every game. You'd only play like 10 games, 12 games. So every game is kind of like learning the team, implementing new defensive concepts and strategies for the kids. And so that this way, when the playoffs come, depending on who you're playing, now is the time to implement what looks like the best strategy, and you had a chance to use it and put it in play before. So, to your point, hopefully, he keeps some stuff in the tool belt, and maybe to some of the points that I saw, maybe OG starts out on Siakam, but Halliburton's getting it going, so they put OG on Halliburton and end up putting Hart on Siakam and see how that goes. Maybe Precious gets more minutes, to go against Siakam because you're worried and you're not playing the small ball team. Maybe Hart comes out, maybe Devo comes out. So it's a lot of different ways to potentially play it. So let's see X Factor Tibbs what he does and how he manages it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Um, one of the X factors is not even a player for me, and that's shout out to Stafford Don. Hope all is well with you.
Steph.
Um, Another X factor is us continuing to get the offense that we got um, in that Philadelphia series. Guys really, really stepped up. Um, Josh Hart for one, particularly in the first 3 games, I think he was averaging like 20 something points, 12 rebounds, or something, um, something to that effect. That has to continue. I mean, that goes without saying. That has to continue. And how about our bigs punishing them? Like Miles Turner is light, and I get it. We don't have anybody we could throw the ball down into and in the post to get a basket, but on the offensive boards, the Knicks should not have a problem between Precious, Mitch, Hartenstein. Somebody mentioned Hart. Punish them on the offensive boards. I think that's I don't see them stopping us in that respect.
My only issue with the offensive boards is that means that you're not shooting a great percentage because you can't have the most offensive rebounds and lead the postseason in field goal percentage.
Yeah, yeah,
These two things are not gonna both happen. So I'm looking at the stats. The team shot 44% in that first round. So, yeah, we had the 1, 2, and 3 leading offensive rebounders, but if you're shooting 44%, that gives you a lot of opportunity to get boards. So, I'd rather be shooting 50% and not lead in offensive rebounds.
yeah. But we don't have those. We don't have those. Unless Diva, Josh Hart, what we got for Josh Hart was almost miraculous. In those first 3 games, I think he shot with 50% or high 40s. For the series from three.
44. Well, he shot 40% from the field and 43% from 3-point range.
Yeah. Um, I haven't looked at it lately to see where the Knicks field goal percentage was for the season. I think we're gonna need those offensive rebounds. I just think as a team, we're just not a great. Um,
For the team for the season, 46.5%,
that's not bad, and
and 3 points was 36.9%.
33 from three. We were 33.9,
36.9.
36.9. Okay, all right. We'll see. It's good to know though. If we shoot well, that's great. But if we don't, we can get second chance. We can get second chance opportunities. Um, Any, and I don't see. Somebody brought up the point. Siakam is he's a decent rebounder. Miles Turner is not a great rebounder. I don't really see them. I see us winning the rebounding battle. Yeah. Anything else on this?
No.
All right. These are my keys to the game. You guys can add comment on these, or if you have another key to the game, add it. Continue getting non-Brunson scoring like Deuce, Hart, OG. We haven't really talked about OG, who's and maybe this is what he was doing all along in Toronto, but it seems to me that he's picking up his offense. That mid-range game is really coming along. So we definitely need that. We need Devo to be more into this game, have a better series than he did against Philly, control the pace of the game. You don't want to get into a run and gun game with the Indiana Pacers and you got 5.5 play, like we 7 players we're playing. Win the rebound battle. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Timely scoring and stops. I don't think this is going to be a game like Philly that comes down to the last minute of the game, but there will be times in any series, in any game, where you have a lead and they're cutting into it and you need a timely basket. Or maybe you're down and you're trying to get back in the game and you need stops in order to do that. So whether it's in crunch time or not, the Knicks need to make timely baskets and timely stops. Any comments on this, or if you have another key to the game?
Hit the free throws.
Mm.
Wait, hold on. Let me do Paris Douglas super chat. Play 9 or lose, our top 7 aren't good enough to only play against an offensive running team. Teams must match energy and size with Precious and Burks. Paris, we're going to be fine.
Who's going to be the ninth guy?
Yeah. Who's going to be the 9th guy? Right. Sims?
No, those two, Precious that he mentioned, Precious and Burks to get additional minutes,
Right.
as well as the two that are already playing off the bench, which is Deuce and Mitch.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. If we need it, we need it. But I'm definitely not in the camp that we're going to burn the players out, and I'm not in the camp that you can't win with 7 or 8. Other teams are doing it. The Knicks are not the only team playing 7 or 8 players in the playoffs.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. If you watch any other playoff game, now some teams are playing more than that. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying the Knicks aren't the only team. So the idea that if we stick to 7, we're going to lose. Listen, get your Klonopin 2. Get your Klonopin 2. Relax. Calm down. But I appreciate the super chat.
To this, Queen, I will add: play good, aggressive defense. Don't send him to the line. Okay, you got to set the tone. Of course, you got to check how the refs are going to call the game, but you got to be aggressive on defense. These guys are not used to being bodied. This is why this run and gun type, they're not used to the grind down, bodied up defense. You set the tone early. You let them know what kind of game they just got himself into, and then you control the whole series that way. But you got to make sure don't be sending him to the line because they're not a bad free throw shooting team. You're muted, Queen.
That's a good point. What are they shooting in the playoffs? The Knicks are not shooting well. I'll tell you that. There's been a significant drop off in free throw shooting. I don't know what the exact numbers are for the Knicks between the regular season and the playoffs.
Believe it or not, Knicks in the playoffs are shooting 72.9% from the foul line.
Wow.
And in the regular season, free throw percentage was 78.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, free throws at a critical time could have made a huge difference in Game 5, and we would not have even needed a Game 6. So, it's not only making the shots; it's making them when they count. So, yeah, obviously, we want to definitely shoot better than 72.9% from the line. If we do the season average of 78, that'll be great. But yeah, I think controlling the pace of the game that you have listed is definitely the key. Is that run run strategically. You know what I mean? Don't just get into a running gun pace, and you have to have great transition defense, especially after made baskets. You know, it's one thing if they get a steal at half court and they get a break. All right, cool. That that happens from time to time, but allowing the team to rush the ball down and get an offensive advantage after you make a basket, that to me is the type of thing that you have to almost like, if it happens once a game, it can't happen again. You know
Right.
what I mean? And to me, that would be key to controlling the pace.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned Obi as an X factor for them. That he's scoring more in the half court. This is Obi could be an X factor for the Pacers. Watch out for his leak outs on fast breaks. Knicks need to get back on defense, and not just that. Also, watch out for that 3 point. The 3 point shot. I'm more concerned about that than the leak outs. I think the Knicks are going to have that under control, but giving up the 3 point shot, particularly if you can't contain Halliburton and he gets into the key. They do an excellent job moving to the open spots, rotating into space, into his line of vision. So yeah, you definitely don't want take that personal. Obi should average 7 points for the season. You serious? You got to take that per. He hyped. You traded him. He definitely want to let you know you made a mistake. He want to show you what he's doing now and that you shouldn't have gave up on him and all of this and all of that. Whatever's going through his mind, hold it down, Knicks. Hold it down. Um,
Obi, I ain't thinking about Obi.
their transition points are down. So Milwaukee they were averaging 26.2 points in transition during the regular season and just 20.5 in that first round. So Milwaukee was able, the pace of the game probably slowed down too. That's what you want to do. All right. We almost out of here. Let's see what's next. That's it. I'm gonna do the MBK family of shows and we're gonna give our predictions and we out of here. Pre-game, post-game, the shoot around with Sim, the creator of this channel. Shout out to Simeon Russell. The NBA wrap up with Ron of Still Nick fans. The controversy with Josh, aka Uncle Fulio. The Losers Lounge with Tony of Knicks and Bruises. Whenever Andy wants to do a show, International Andy. Queen's Court with yours truly of Dope Soul Sports Talk. If you're not subscribed to my channel, go there right now and subscribe to the channel. And special programming and events by Sim. We did a watch party for game 5. I'm pretty sure there'll be another watch party sometime in round 2. Shout out to DJ Shuttle, 108 Soul Fridays 8 to 10. And I know he'll tell you more about it, but he'll be back on IG Live Mondays. Spread love. It's the Dope Soul and Queens Court way. 2 Knicks chicks, Lady and the Chef, Diva Locks 21. Be sure you subscribe to their channel. All right. Predictions, and then we out of here. Predictions for tonight and for the series.
I'll start. I got the Knicks winning tonight. I think it's imperative that the Knicks take game 1. I got the Knicks in 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I see the Timberland foot stomp coming out tonight, and setting the tone. I love the physicality of the Philly series, so I think it brings the Knicks coming in with a physical nature against Indy. You might say Indy's kind of soft, if you will, maybe a early 2000s Phoenix Suns ish. You know what I mean? And too much physicality for this to go more than 5 games, and I see the Knicks, winning game 1 and winning game 2 at home, and tonight should actually be a blowout. New York City on fire.
I love it. Queen.
IJ Xanax the villain. Come on, what you got?
I can never predict against my Knicks. So the Knicks are gonna win the series, but I think it's probably gonna take 7 games to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I got the Knicks in 4 or 5. Yeah. Handle your business. You listen. listen. I have no problems after tonight. Editing that if I need to. But you got players who could defend Halliburton. You got players who could defend Miles Turner. You got players who can defend
Siakam.
Siakam. They're not a good defensive team. Who's defending OG? Who's defending even who's keeping Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achua off the boards? Who's doing that? I don't know. Maybe they'll show me something that I don't know, and I'll revise my take. But right now I have the Knicks in 4 or 5. Shout out to Jarrell. Knicks in 5.
It's in 5.
Listen, if Philly was healthy, if Miami was healthy, Indiana was going to be a playing team. So let's actually let's not.
Okay. Listen, I need some convincing. You guys are doing a good job.
Indy was a playing team. Indy was a playing team.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Like they were fortunate to get that seed that they got. Embiid's healthy and plays 10 more games. Indy's a playing team. Jimmy Butler's playing, and they don't have all those injuries. Indy's a playing team. Who knows? Maybe they don't even make it to the playoffs.
Right. And then they got Milwaukee without Giannis. I'm not gonna take it, but because you still have to win the games. You still have to win the games. And they did. So I don't want to take too much away from them. I just don't see it. And like I said, I don't mind revising it once I watch the game.
Are we favorite? Are we favorite in this series, like with Vegas?
I don't even know, but we're not the favorites. Oh my!
Have to be.
No, most people got Indiana taking it.
No, like Vegas too, like the books, the betters.
I don't know about
Not Charles, not
No, I'm not talking about.
not those guys. Those guys don't count. Not Kenny Smith. Forget those guys. Not Shaq.
Now Kenny Smith is back with the Knicks. I distinctly heard him in the middle of the season. Who was it? Ernie said, "Your Knicks." He was like, "That's not my Knicks."
Mhm.
Now all of a sudden, he got the orange pocket square. Relax, Kenny. Relax. Ken NY. Relax.
The Knicks are favorite on DraftKings.
Okay.
Yeah. Vegas has the Knicks winning next time. I checked. Okay.
And I agree with that comment from Parrish. I think that Philly series was a nice challenge for the Knicks, and that's prepared them for this round for sure. Like, I'm happy they went against a team like that versus if we went against Cleveland, for example, where we know we have Cleveland. That was a nice challenge to get the Knicks carry this momentum over from round 1 and put that beating on Indiana.
For some strange reason, Philly, I was very comfortable. Like from day one,
I was not.
I'm like,
I wasn't either.
I wasn't comfortable at all.
I'm baffled. This guy just said he's nervous against Indy, but he was comfortable against Philly. And Embiid has proven time and time again that he destroys Mitch and the Knicks. And he did do that in the series too.
Shuttle. No, Mitch had a pretty good series, but
Embiid on one leg,
right,
averaged 30 points a game.
For some reason, I think it's a matchup thing with them. I think, like I said, they all over the place, and we play a more structured defensive game that could. We could play Philly, we could play Milwaukee, but these guys are all over the place. They're like ping, 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 all over the place.
But we're not going to allow them. If you allow them to do that, you're going to lose the series. It's as simple as that.
They can be controlled.
You have a game plan against that. You have to execute it. If they're able to do that against your set game plan, then that means you're not good enough. It's as simple as that.
I do see what you're saying, Ajay, but I don't think that. I think Tibbs is too strategic of a defensive coach, and I think the players are too committed to playing defense. Like Hart, OG, Mitch. I mean, even Devo was playing some strong D on Maxey. Like this team is now you've got full-fledged defensive guys that are gonna go hard. So Yeah, man. Bow
Yeah.
wow wow, yippee yo, yippee yay.
All right, I got it. I got to get out of here. My company is waiting at the front door. Jarrell, Kenny's fandom is as shaky as them knees. No doubt about it.
That is a good one.
That is a
Them
good
knees is buckling.
yeah. Nick family, until next time.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.